My name is DJ Chuang, and in this video I'll be answering the question, was it hard to admit and to share that I had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder since my first incident? Short answer, yes. Longer answer, it's taken me a long time to find the courage and the support and the healing and the state of well-being where I could share about my bipolar disorder. I was first diagnosed in the year 2000 after a job transition when I used to work as a pastor, and I stopped working as a pastor and sought out different career opportunities. And during that transitional year, it was a very emotionally painful time during which I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I have been managing and treating that illness with medicine, prescription medication, and talk therapy for over 20 years now. And during the first 13 years having bipolar disorder, I only mentioned it to a few close friends and family members over a little bit by little over those years. Initially, those around me did not accept the diagnosis as much as I did, because I had to live my life, but they were looking from the outside, and they were hopeful and wishing that it was just a short-term incident rather than a long-term diagnosis. But as I learned and experienced health and wellness, I accepted the diagnosis and stayed active on my self-care in order to feel and to think clearly so that I could function well as an adult person. So that was into my 30s and 40s, and then I had an opportunity in 2013, being interviewed by a journalist who found my personal website to be interesting in terms of my work as a church consultant, and also my personal story of struggling with bipolar disorder. And so at that time, I felt supported enough and well enough, and took a step of faith, if I may say that way, to go public with my bipolar disorder, knowing that going public may be used against me or may change the reaction or perception of some people against me for having a mental health disorder or illness, and perhaps even jeopardize some job opportunities that may happen in the future. Well, that article is published in the OC Register here in Orange County, California. I'll add a link in the description so you can read that. And it's become a part of my public story of why I do what I do, how I live out my Christian faith, how I am doing the things that I can do from my vantage point as a volunteer and as a passion project to be a mental health advocate. And then in 2017, I had another episode that was very challenging, where I wound up being hospitalized for 3 days. And I'll add a link in the description so you can see that testimony of my recovery and my healing, and how my faith and how the love of my family and my small group around me from church, as well as my therapist and my medication from my psychiatrist, helped me to recover. And then in 2018, as I was feeling well, a friend who was a Christian therapist started a podcast with me called Erasing Shame. And on that podcast, we have honest talk for healthy living, relationally, mentally, personally, and emotionally. ErasingShame.com is the website. You can find it on every podcast platform. I'll add a link in the description. I would encourage you to check it out, where we want to create a safe place for people who are ready to share publicly their story of how they've lived with and recovered and have cared for themselves in their own mental health journey. And it's not limited to mental health. Anything that causes us to experience shame, when we are able to bring it into the light, shame no longer puts us in darkness and causes us to hide, but shame begins to lose its power when we bring it to light and we're able to talk about it. So that's been my mental health journey. I've come to a place where I am able and somewhat comfortable to share in public, in the hopes that it will help others who are on that process of learning about their diagnosis, wrestling with how to accept it, how to deal with it, how to get better, how to get well, and to recognize that it's possible and you're not alone. There's help and there's hope. If I could be of any help to you in a personal way, feel free to contact me. Again, I'll add a link in the description so that we can have a conversation and see if I could help. Thank you.